Topping today's news, we hear from the PLP's candidate for the Golden Isles by-election, Darren Pickstock. The Minister for Economic Affairs makes a case for sustainable economic growth. The Tourism and Aviation Ministry looking forward to a busy Thanksgiving weekend, and 2 teenagers injured after a brawl at a Grand Bahama junior high school. This is your JCN Evening News. I'm Jcn Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us. As the Golden Isles by-election is less than 2 weeks away, all 4 candidates are on the ground, going door to door, and using various forms of media to get their message out. Today, PLP candidate Darren Pickstock was a guest on Love 97's radio talk show, Issues of the Day, with host Christian Jones. Among the many questions Mr. Pickstock was asked, he was also asked if he truly believes if he's ready to serve as a member of parliament and address the needs of thousands of constituents.
Yes, I know that I can. I mean, I've served in the Senate where I passed legislation and debated legislation that directly impact people's lives, whether it's the increase in the minimum wage, whether it's my advocacy for suicide prevention. These things all impact people's lives. And so now I'm getting into frontline politics, which is a little different, but I am used to service all my life. You know, it was all about service for me. So when you ask the question whether I'm prepared to function in the role of a member of parliament, absolutely, because it's all about service. And that is what I'm about.
Mr. Pickstock was also asked to respond to accusations by his main opponent, F&M candidate Brian Brown, that all of the works going on in the Golden Isles constituency will cease should the PLP lose the by-election.
The work continues. So this isn't just something that has just started. This is part of a national program that the government has. And I just want to lay that foundation first. You mentioned that coming to the studio, there was so much paving going on, but that's throughout the Bahamas. That's not only in Golden Isles. And so my point is that this is part of a national program where the government is improving and making the roads safe for people to traverse. And that work will not stop under any circumstances. That work is continuous. And so there's no different now because there's a by-election. That work will continue. Win, lose, or draw in Golden Isles.
In addition to Pickstock and Mr. Brown, Brian Rowe for the Coalition of Independents and Karen Butler as an independent candidate will also contest the Golden Isles by-elections. Reducing debt while maintaining sustainable economic growth is the government's goal on the economic front. That's what Economic Affairs Minister Senator Michael Halkitis told accountants at the Bahamas Institute of Chartered Accountants Annual Accountants Week, which is underway. Halkitis said the nation's current debt to GDP ratio stands at approximately 73%. He said the government's aim is to reduce this ratio to about 50% by the fiscal year 2030-2031. Mr. Halkitis acknowledged that government expenditure has increased, but underscores that revenue is rising faster, with tax receipts up 11% and overall expenditure up 6%. He stressed that controlled increases are necessary to support public services and to stimulate economic activity. A 21-year-old man was arraigned in the magistrate's court today on 1 count of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. These charges are in relation to the incident that claimed the life of Ashantino Johnson, a member of the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services. The incident occurred on Wednesday, November 5th, at a restaurant and bar at the top of Blue Hill Road North. Initial reports by police say the victims and the suspects were involved in an altercation inside that establishment when the victim, or the suspect rather, produced a knife and stabbed the 3 victims multiple times. This resulted in the 72nd murder this year. A video of that violent brawl was shared widely on social media. The suspect was released from hospital earlier this week after being grazed to the head by a gunshot after engaging an off-duty police officer who tried to restore law and order at that scene. Tourism officials might soon be breathing a sigh of relief now that the government shutdown in the United States seems to be coming to an end. A deal to move forward passed in the Senate on Sunday and will be voted on by representatives today. With the busy Thanksgiving weekend around the corner, Director of Aviation Dr. Kenneth Romer seems confident that travel numbers to the Bahamas will remain high.
Our hotel partners, first of all, are experiencing record-breaking bookings for Thanksgiving and going into the Q4. NAD also is speaking to the same impact. We're not just seeing this trend in Nassau, Paradise Island, we're also seeing this in our family islands.
Although the FAA said that only domestic U.S. flights would be affected, the shortage of some 4,000 flights canceled could negatively impact the Bahamas with regards to connecting flights in the USA with residents there in the U.S. trying to make their way here to the Bahamas. And finally, in this segment, on Monday in Washington, D.C., Prime Minister Philip Davis officially named the new multi-million-dollar Bahamas Chancery in honor of Livingston B. Johnson, the first Bahamian ambassador of the Bahamas to the United States. Some 90 diplomats attended the ceremony hosted by the Bahamas ambassador to the U.S., Mr. Wendell Jones. The Minister for the Foreign Service, Fred Mitchell, congratulated Ambassador Jones and his team for a job well done.
Congratulations to Ambassador Wendell Jones on getting the job done. Because it's been a long journey. Thank you, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, for making this possible. The next stop, I have a list, is the London office and our building in Harlem. It is an honor to be Minister responsible for this process, because it's been a long journey. Thank you, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, for making this possible. The next stop, I have a list, is the London office and our building in Harlem. It is an honor to be Minister responsible for this process. When you have power, you get to name things. And the Prime Minister will do just that job in a few minutes, with this building newly refurbished in its multi-million-dollar incarnation. I toured it this morning, and it is magnificently done.
During the ceremony, Prime Minister Philip Davis presented several veteran Bahamian Foreign Service workers with medals of honor. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back following these commercials.